Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to yet another session of the Sasol New Signatures information recordings that we have been doing this year as part of the 2023 competition. And this is actually our penultimate recording. My name is Pfunzo Sidogi, and with me is Cate Terblanche. And today we'll be covering something which is really important, or the other recordings have also been important, but today we're covering an aspect of the competition process which relates to how do judges actually look for the winning work, or what characteristics do they look for in the winning work, which is an interesting discussion to have, and we will try our best to take you through it.
Yes, Pfunzo. Oh gosh, I think that's probably one of the questions that we are asked most often is, like, what does it take to make a winning work? And it's it's quite difficult actually to really give one kind of answer, because every single year we have very, very different works that are submitted, and very different works have actually won. If we have a look at the last couple of years, sometimes it's a painting, sometimes it's installation, so you can't really actually pinpoint anything. So to start off with, this conversation, maybe you can talk about some of the aspects the broad aspects that we look at when we judge, and then we can maybe talk about some of these aspects in a little bit of detail then.
That's right. So look, to kick things off, I would refer our viewers to the previous recording that we did around the judging process, because that will help them understand how the judging actually takes place. And so today we are going a bit more into what the judges then are looking for. And some of these aspects we've kind of touched on in previous sessions as well, but I think the first one broadly, so you ask kind of broad strokes, is a winning artwork must adhere to all of the regulations of the competition. It goes without saying. So all of these aspects that we've touched on around the size of the work, matters relating to presentation, matters relating to the artist statement and its clarity. These are, of course, essential ingredients. But then to kind of delve deeper, there are specific then components or characteristics that the judges do look out for, and we've kind of just subdivided them into 4 streams, but we'll start with the first one. And again, we should just issue a disclaimer here that we are not giving a kind of step-by-step guide that if you do this, or if you produce this type of artwork, or make that type of drawing, or submit this type of photograph, then you are going to win. No, that can never be the case. But regardless of which type of artwork you submit, whether it's a sculpture, whether it's a painting, whether it's a performance artwork, whether it's an animation, regardless of the modality of the work, there are still some fundamentals that the fundamental characteristics that the judges are looking for, which do form part of what goes into a winning work. Now, the first one, Cate, that maybe we can just reflect on is this idea of technical execution. And this is kind of the most basic expectation that the judges look out for. And again, this cuts across whatever modality the artist is working in, whether it is a video piece, whether it is drawing on paper. The technical execution is just one of those things that are a basic expectation for what the judges consider a really good artwork. And Cate, maybe you can say a few things around that, around technical execution.
Yes, I think that's probably one of the first things that actually judges are actually faced with is actually looking at the technical aspects. Is this artist actually really technically equipped? Is this an excellent artwork in terms of the technical execution? Does the artist really actually know? Does he or she have the skills and the technical ability to produce a top quality work? Because that's really actually what we're looking for. We're looking for the top quality works. So technical excellence is actually like, it's mandatory.
Yeah, that's and it's mandatory, and it's mandatory regardless of the type of artwork, right? So
yes.
And it's important for us, for the viewers to understand that we never privilege any type of work to say the competition likes 2D works, or the judges lean or favor towards 3D works. But what happens is, year on year, you will find that there'll be a dominance of a certain type of artwork. It is because technically, chances are technically those were the most resolved from all the regional judging rounds, and that's what the judges will look out for. So yes, that I agree with you that is almost unavoidable. At the end of the day, and this is something that is debatable in terms of the type of modalities that we look at as the judging panel, or as a competition. But at the end of the day, the visual dimension, the kind of tactile, physical aspects of the artwork, and whatever that physical form is, right? Whether that physical form is digital, or whether that physical form is sculptural, they need to be the best, as you are noting. Yes. Because the competition represents the best of what the country has to offer in terms of emerging art. So that's what the judges are looking for.
I think if I'm going to refer once again to the catalogs, and they are available on in a digital format on the Sasol New Signatures website. But if you go and look through that, and you look at the winners over the years, you'll see that absolutely, that's one thing that is absolutely consistent, is the technical excellence. And I think that's really actually a make or break thing. Point. If your work isn't up to scratch, it's probably not going to win. You might still be in the top 7 or the the winning circle. You might be, depending on the strength of your concept. But for a winning work, it definitely has to be really technically excellent. So yeah,
that's very true. So that first part, we can summarize it as the form of the artwork.
Yes.
There might be different words that one can use, but the form, or the formal qualities of the artwork, have to be excellent. I like that word, excellent. Then you obviously bring up that important word around concept, and this is the second aspect that the judges look out for. And when we are talking about concept or narrative, or the story that the artwork is attempting to communicate, what we are really looking for is not to say that the concept needs to be sophisticated. It can be sophisticated. It can be complex. It can be simple. It can be very straightforward. But what we are really looking for in terms of the concept is the clarity of the communication of that concept, both through the artwork and through the artist statement. So whatever your concept may be, we've had concepts or narratives or storylines in the past few years that are very straightforward, Cate. I think of our 2019 winner, Patrick Rulore, whose concept was load shedding, or his narrative that he was engaging with was load shedding. As straightforward as that, but it was the manner in which he communicated that.
Absolutely.
The clarity with which that came through, both in the artwork and in the artist statement. And I can also give you examples of other concepts from other winning works that were highly sophisticated, highly complex, but in the same vein, they were communicated very clearly to the audience. So what we are really looking for here, we don't want to dictate to the entrance to say, oh, you only need to communicate this type of concept. No, what we are asking for is that you communicate that concept clearly. Yes. And if that comes through, even in the form that you're choosing, and maybe you can talk about this, the relationship between the visual aspects or the formal qualities and the concept, the importance of that.
I think that's very important as well. I've seen on a number of occasions over the years, actually, where, you know, a work is really technically excellent, and we are looking at it and we think, yes, maybe this could be a winning work, or, you know, and we turn to the artist statement and we go, oh, wow, gosh, they don't speak to each other. So I think that's very important, is to ensure that your artwork, what you're presenting in your artwork and what you are telling us in the artist statement, that those two need to talk to each other. I think that's very, very important. You know, it doesn't matter, as you say, how complex the concept is or how straightforward it is. The thing is, the work and the concept need to speak to each other. So
completely. And even when you say the work, I think of choice of material, that the material that the artist chooses to use as a kind of a primary mode of communicating that concept must also be considered. Some of the best works, you find that the artist was very wise and calculated in the type of material that they chose to either paint on or draw on or sculpt with, because it related to what they were trying to communicate through their concept.
Absolutely.
That unity is essential.
Yes, yes.
That's right.
So we've got two aspects, the technical aspects and the concept. I think then maybe another thing is really actually, and this could maybe be a little bit controversial, but the presentation.
Yeah.
It's not one of those things that we will go, okay, you know, we won't choose a specific work because of the presentation might not be absolutely perfect. But if you want to be a winning work, if you want that work to win the competition, it really actually, that is something that you have to take into consideration as well.
Completely. And in one of the previous recordings, we did talk quite a bit about this notion of hang ready. What does hang ready mean? And what we are pointing towards when we say presentation becomes a critical characteristic in a winning work is ultimately this competition is a platform to enable you as an emerging artist to become a professional artist. And part of transitioning into the realm of being a professional is then how do you package your work to an audience? And is that work, and is a point that we'll get to just in a moment, is the value of that work consistent with the way in which it has been presented? So this is absolutely essential. Of course, this will have links to the concept. Presentation must also speak to the concept that you are attempting to communicate. And I think, Cate, you did make a good point of this earlier when you talked about even the frames that artists choose to frame with. Are those frames consistent with the image that is in either the painting or the drawing or the print? But more so, does the frame communicate with the narrative of the work? So that's part and parcel of presentation, the way in which the work is put into space. And that's also another thing to think about in presenting the work. How does it interact with its space, especially for sculptural work? one of the previous winners, I remember Jessica Storm Camp, if I'm not Camp.
Yes.
She had this installation of what you could consider plinths, but they were not really plinths. But they were phenomenally presented, right, in the way in which these sculptures interacted with the space. So that is essential. Presentation is essential.
I think something that is also important maybe to just share is that we are really actually looking for to put a new artist on the map, an emerging artist. We want to give them the most amazing experience in their career. And so we are actually looking for signs that that person is actually has an understanding of what it takes to be a professional artist. They might not be quite, everything, they might not have everything, sorted. There might still be a couple of spaces where they really actually maybe need to a little bit, focus on and practice a bit more, or, refine certain aspects. But the thing is, we want to know that that person has the ability to transcend into a professional career. And that's actually, I think, where we see like all these little bits coming in together and forming a whole. Yeah.
So in a nutshell, just to close off this aspect of presentation, is you do not want it to be the weakest part of the artwork. Once the technical side is resolved, the concept is clear and interesting, but then there is a shortage in the way in which it has been presented. Our plea is that let not that be the thing that maybe stands in between the artwork being a winning work or just being part of the finalists.
Absolutely. And I think while we're talking about that, I think another very important thing, and something that also might be a little bit controversial, is the whole thing about pricing. I'm so sorry. Can you hear my dog?
No. Yes, pricing.
It's pricing. And that's not necessarily something that will actually that we use as a judging standard.
Yeah.
But it is something that also, that we do take into consideration, that the work needs to be appropriately priced for the level at which the artist is currently finding themselves at.
Oh, completely. And here, Cate, I will narrate an incident from last year's Turbine Art Fair, which is pretty similar to the Sasol New Signatures competition, in that it is an art fair that is targeted to your more emerging market of artists. And so I was walking through the Turbine Art Fair last year with Lawrence Limawana, who's also a highly experienced visual artist who's been practicing in the industry for almost 2 decades. And we were walking through some of these booths, and they were prints, Cate, I kid you not, prints that were priced by emerging artists that were priced at about 70,000 Rand per print.
Oh.
And he found it baffling, because he said even him as a professional artist who's really nationally and internationally recognized, he cannot even command those type of prices. And so I narrate this story to say this is a competition that is primarily targeting artists who are emerging, artists who've never had a solo exhibition before. So it does leave a sour taste in the mouth. You are right, it's not a judging criteria, but it does leave a sour taste in the mouth when, and I will give you a previous experience where last year or the year before that, there was an artwork, really good artwork, by an artist who was still a student at a university at the time, who priced it at 150,000 Rand, a painting, at 150,000. So these these situations leave the judges a bit confused as to, okay, we see that the artwork is well executed, we see that the concept is solid, but why would this artist price it at such a unreasonable amount in terms of where they are at in their career? So as a plea, because this does impact the ways in which the judges will interact with an artwork, the pricing. Our plea is just that artists must, especially at this stage of their careers, must do a little bit of a market research, see how other artists who are at the same level that they are at are pricing their works, and even see how professional artists are pricing their works, because you will find that professional artists are really modest in the type of prices that they fetch, and as much as possible, try to be as humble as possible to ensure that the price that they ask for. Of course, we understand that some artists will spend months and will spend quite a lot of money, even input costs into making the work. Yes, so all of that needs to be covered. We get that, but a little bit of pragmatism needs to be adopted when it comes to, or applied when it comes to the pricing. And yes, this does impact the way that an artwork is perceived. The same way that when we, myself and Lawrence, were walking through the Durban Art Fair, when we interacted with an artwork that was outrageously priced, it did have an impact in the way that we then perceived that artwork. This is just human nature.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think just in closing, maybe I think it's very important also for us just to emphasize that what the judges are looking, or what the competition wants to do, is really actually to provide a platform for an emerging artist to take their career to the next level. So I think that's also important for the artists to bear that in mind, is that is actually what we're looking at. We're looking to find evidence of someone's career that we can take to the next level. So if they keep that in mind, I'm sure, you know, they'll be able to produce a work that will really actually adhere to all of these criteria that we've actually spoken about in some way or another.
That's true. And again, what you would have noticed is that none of these criteria or characteristics are restrictive in terms of the type of work that artists can submit. So we are looking for those amazing stories that you have, those unique stories, those interesting stories that you want to communicate through your work. All we are asking for is that when you do communicate that, do it in such a manner that it adheres to just some of these basic expectations of what would constitute a cutting edge artwork by one of the what we would, when you become a leader, one of the leading artists or emerging artists in the country. And with that, we wish you all the best, those that are going to be submitting work. We're looking forward to seeing your works at the regional judging round, and please just know that whatever story you want to tell is valid, and it's important, and it needs to be told. So please come through and submit your works.
So excited! I can't wait.
It's
right. Only a couple of days, what are we now? 2 weeks to go, less even. So
that's right.
Yes, can't wait.